Alright, and welcome everyone to Zuha Radio Show. Today you're definitely in for a treat because the person that's going to be on the show today is none other than the person who was actually ranked second just behind his own teammate, Mr. Shahid Afridi, in the ICC ODI All-Rounder Rankings in June 2008. This person was also, at just the age of 25, was Pakistan's fourth youngest captain of his team. He was also, or he actually does have a strike rate of 77.23 runs per 100 balls, which compares favorably to Rahul Dravid and also Inzamam ul Haq. And one of his best performances were seen in 2003, known as the power hitting against South Africa, where he scored 82 from just 41 balls. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is none other than Mr. SHOAIB Malik. Welcome, Mr. SHOAIB Malik, on Zuha Radio Show. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So to get things started, I know that you started off your debut in the one-day international match in 1999 against West Indies. So right now I know you're back in West Indies. So how does that feel?
Well, honestly speaking, I didn't think about it, that I'm in West Indies and my debut was against West Indies. But it feels great, especially when you perform well. And I did well in the CPL.
Right.
So
And you were the man of the match.
Yes, in the finals, and on top of that, we won the tournament.
That's awesome.
It feels great, and
wow. That's great. I'm so glad that you guys are performing well. How long have you guys been staying in the Caribbean islands for?
Well, it's been 6 weeks now. And last year we played the same thing, but it got finished in 3 weeks. So it's kind of a little bit extra, but so far so good.
So far so good. All right, so I wanted to ask you that you started your career at a very young age, and since a very young age you've been having praises from very well-known people. So be it Mark Elaine, who said SHOAIB did very well, he's a gifted all-rounder, he's worthy of a place in either discipline, and as a 21-year-old he still has a lot of potential. Then we have people like Bob Woolmer, who said about you when they were picking whether you should be a captain or not, he said about you that you are the sharpest tactical tack among his group and a real presence on the field. And on top of that, Imran Khan backed you up and he said that he appears to have a good cricket brain and could be counted on as a very good choice for the Pakistan's team. And just at the age of 25 you were selected. So how does that make you feel, and how do you maintain to remain so humble even though such amazing people are complimenting you all the time?
Well, honestly speaking, when I took the captaincy straight after 2007 World Cup, I made a mistake. Actually, we had so many senior players and I was doing well.
Right.
And I wanted to just carry on as a player, but I made a mistake by taking the captaincy. And even though I did really well when I was a captain, but when I resigned, it was in 2008 or beginning of 2009. Well, that wasn't the time I could have resigned, but I did.
Right.
I shouldn't have resigned, but I was not enjoying my cricket, and I'm the guy who hate losing.
Oh.
Right. So
you're someone who doesn't take defeat that well.
Yes, and on top of that, it was affecting my own cricket, and I always want to see myself doing well for the country. And then I thought I should give this thing to another player or someone else. And obviously you took so many names.
So many prestigious people have said such good things about you.
I feel proud, and I would like to thank you, all of them. And obviously Bob Woolmer, when he became a coach for Pakistan cricket team, the first thing he asked me, in fact told me, that I want you to bat at number 3. So that's how I started batting at number 3. And in those 2-3 years, I scored 3,000 runs.
Right, yeah,
And,
wow.
I always, even though he's passed away, but I always miss him. I learned a lot from him. In fact, most of the Pakistani players, they learned a lot. And even if you ask the South African players, they'll say the same thing. So it's like
you guys are getting better,
yeah.
right? Okay, so something else that I wanted to ask you, and in fact the Twitter followers were wanting to know this as well, was among all the players that you see on the field, everyone's really good at what they do. You are fantastic at what you do, but everyone else is, very competitive as well. So who on the field is the one person who has the capacity to make you feel a bit tense or a bit worried because they're about to make their next move?
Well, it depends. It depends on the situation, and I'm not the guy who thinks a lot before getting into that situation.
Into the zone, okay.
Yeah, into that zone. So obviously, I'm like a batting all-rounder.
Right.
Even though I started my international career as a bowler. It's just that if I'm playing on a batting track, then I don't mind whoever's bowling, right? But if the condition's tough, obviously everyone bothers you. So it's like that. But there are world-class bowlers, which I've played against them.
And if you were to name a specific person?
Well, I've played against Wasim Akram.
Right.
And
he's damn good. He knows what he's doing.
I think words are not enough to describe what kind of player he was. And there are other players as well, quite a few from Australia, and like Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne, Muralidharan. And there are so many players, but it's good. The more you play, the
more experience you gain.
The experience you gain, and then you have that confidence where you can handle tough situations. So I'm not really, especially nowadays, I'm not really thinking about who's coming and who's going, right?
You're used to it.
Yeah.
So because you started your career at such a young age, कभी ऐसा हुआ कि किसी personality को देख के even you felt a little starstruck and you're like, wow, Arjun से मुलाकात हुई है?
Well, I'll tell you one story. In 1996, there was trials for Under 15 World Cup.
Right.
And I took a autograph from Wasim Akram. And straight after 3 years, I was playing with him.
Wow.
So
a dream come true.
Exactly. And he was a captain, and he was the one who picked me in the national side.
Wow.
So while taking his autograph, I never thought of
Never once thought
that this gonna happen within 3 years, but it happened.
MashaAllah, that's amazing. Good for you. Another question that I wanted to know, just kind of tilting towards your marriage. In 2010, in one of the Sahara Awards, Shah Rukh Khan jokingly asked you, what did you see in Sania Mirza that you married right away? And you jokingly replied, well, sochne ka to waqt hi nahi mila aur shaadi ho gayi ekdam.
That's true, actually.
So अब तो काफ़ी साल हो गए हैं लेकिन, so I'm pretty sure काफ़ी सोच भी लिया और काफ़ी एक दूसरे को इंशाल्लाह जान भी लिया होगा. So what's one of the best pieces of advice that Sania Mirza has given you, because she plays sports herself?
Well, we're both very different. I'm quite flexible, but she's not really.
Okay.
So, good advice that I really have to think.
Really? She never tells you or comments on the situation?
That's what I do.
Okay, so she doesn't interfere whatsoever.
That's what I do, actually.
And what do you do?
But obviously, I play like a team game, but she doesn't play. She plays like an individual thing, and she needs a lot of pampering because she's a girl, right?
Right.
And I would say females, they need a lot of pampering.
Okay.
And in my next interview, for sure I'll answer this question. But
Okay, let's switch it. What's one of the best advices you've given her?
if you lose the game, right?
Yeah.
That tomorrow is another day, right? Tomorrow is a new day.
There's always more hope, more time to change.
Exactly. And whatever happened, it happened. You can't change that.
Right.
But whatever is coming, you can change that by thinking positively.
Right. So
that's
take
what
charge
I-
of the present.
Exactly.
Perfect. All right, a Twitter follower of mine, Alia from Houston, Texas, asked a very simple question. And she was wondering, we've seen you go and support your wife, like you just said, many times at matches. But say one time she comes to support you at a match where you're playing against India. Have you guys ever discussed this as to who she's going to be supporting, whether she's still supporting you or is she going to support her team then?
She wants to see me scoring 100, but India's winning.
Okay. So
Alright.
kind of like balanced in that sense.
Well, I don't really say it's balanced because even if my wife's from India, right?
Right.
So it's like if I'm an Indian, right? And you would be asking me the same question. I would be answering. I would be answering the same thing. I'm going to support my wife, right?
Right.
I'm going to support my wife, but I will support Pakistan. I want to see Pakistan winning.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the blood,
Of course.
right? It's in the blood. I don't really think you should be thinking, okay, what Pakistani people will think or what Indian people will think, right?
Right.
Forget about them. I don't care whoever thinks what. I'm from Pakistan, and I love Pakistan, right? And same for her.
She loves her country, of course.
Exactly.
So it's absolutely balanced, and it's just, that's how it is. So there's nothing complicated. Perfect. Another question that I wanted to ask you was, because you started, and I know I've said this many times throughout the interview, but you started at a young age. So what was the reaction of your parents when you told them, I want to be a cricketer, especially being from Pakistan?
I never told them, actually. My father used to support me, and my mother and my elder sister, they never supported me. Till the time I've played under 15 World Cup in England. That was in 1996. But my father was the one
Who supported you hardcore.
who supported me a lot.
But like, in terms of your family or your relatives even, what's their reaction now though? You're among the heroes of Pakistan, you've made the name of Pakistan, so proud.
They're very proud, and all of them, they always supported me except my mother and my elder sister. But obviously you don't really care who's saying what, right? But when it comes about your own family, then you feel and then you accept those things, right? But I worked hard. I wanted, I didn't want to play cricket.
What were you wanting to do?
Well, no one knows. I was like 14 years old, and when I gave that under 15 trials. So, when you're 14, you don't really think what you're gonna do in future, stuff like that.
So I'm assuming, your mom or your sister would have wanted you to complete your education first of all.
Exactly, because in the subcontinent, either you play any sports or you finish your studies. You can't do two things together, and obviously we have so much competition, right? And we have to do practice, stuff like that. If you're competing with other players and you want to see yourself be in the team, and not just be in the team, you have to see consistency, right? That needs a lot of hard work.
Of course, religion work.
I had no choice. But the minute I've played under 15 World Cup, I became the best bowler of the World Cup. From there, I've been just playing cricket under 19s, 18s, departmental crickets.
For sure. Lastly, or the second last question would be, as a nation, sometimes we get so involved in your matches, especially when it comes to you would know this, matches against India. Like literally both the nations are praying for these people like hardcore. If say you guys lose, and if say things don't work out in your favor, dealing with the nation is already a problem on one hand, but coming back home to relatives who were praying for you too, how do you deal with that?
I don't meet them.
Oh, you don't meet them?
No, I don't meet
Just
them.
avoid them.
I don't meet them for like some time.
Okay.
You just let them cool down a little.
Yeah, but people should know, end of the day, it's a game, right?
Right. Sports is about winning or losing.
Exactly. And the way people think, especially these days, if you're not scoring runs today, right, they're like just saying everything to you, right? And if you're scoring runs the next day, then they'll be behind you.
They'll be
right?
like your biggest fan.
Yes, exactly. So I don't really think about all this.
Okay.
Obviously, I want to do well, and it's for my own satisfaction, right? You get a lot of criticism from the people, or they praise you also, right? So it's kind of balanced thing. But I'm a guy who sets goals for myself,
Right.
and I always work hard to achieve those goals.
And you said you personally don't deal well with the defeat yourself. So how do you conquer your own, head in that sense?
I just sit in my room. I don't do much, and I talk to myself that what I did today and what should I have done, stuff like that.
So just like total therapy, but self-therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And lastly, what would you be giving an advice to any newcomer out there, and specifically to the youth who wants to be someone like you? Someone who's very young, but someone who has big dreams like you, what would you say to them?
Just work hard.
Just work hard.
Just work hard
Stop.
and don't stop. These are the things. And you know what? Just talk to yourself. You know your what you're capable of doing, right? No one can tell you. Even if you get a best coach, that person not gonna tell you anything. Right. So it's just that, talk to yourself.
It's solely up to you. Perfect. So that ends the interview. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you. And have a great day.
You too.